Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where I do the daily live stream around the card draw for the day. Today is Monday, December 3rd. Yes, December 3rd. Every time I say the date, I just kind of laugh because the time just flies by. Sometimes it feels like I have 2 days in one. That's how busy it is here. That you have one day in the morning and then you have the second day in the afternoon. And it's crazy, crazy, crazy. So it is kind of cold here in northwestern Wisconsin. I live in Toma and about an hour from the Mississippi, east of the Mississippi. But it stopped snowing. Yeah, it's a good thing. I don't know. We got maybe 5 or 6 inches, something like that. Measurable of snow. We haven't had measurable snow in quite some time, and so this is heavy, wet snow. Good for snowmen, snow women, snowball fights, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So welcome everybody. Before we get rolling with the cards, what I'd like to do is take my phone and I'm going to share and like the broadcast. And we'll get that going so it doesn't take long. Let's get that done. Okay, here we go. Gonna like it and we're gonna share it. Hey, Jean's here. Hi, Jean. And Cindy's here. Cindy Nix. Hello. Good to see you, Cindy. Thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna write it in my the first one in my news feed, just so that my friends know that I'm live streaming. And asking them to please join. There we go. There. That one's posted. And now I'm gonna share over to one of the closed groups. And so I'm gonna just say, hey peeps. And letting them know that I'm live streaming. And please join. There we go. And we're gonna head over to the Academy. There, that's done. Well, there, now it's done. Oh my goodness. Okay, so. Hey, Rob's here too, Rob Kendall. Good to have you in the house, Rob. Yeah. See, on the Facebook, when I was doing native live streaming, which means I wasn't using a third-party app, I could see exactly who was in the chat when they came in and that sort of thing, and to say hello to them. I'm using our partners at BeLive TV. This is the app that we use for all of our live stream shows here at Star Nations Radio Network. And when I use the third-party app, I don't see everybody in the chat unless you actually make a comment. So even if you just say, hey, Neshi, or hi, Neshi, or just say hi, then I'll know that you're in the live chat, okay? Otherwise, I can check my phone too. It doesn't take that long, but still. See, I get to do this kind of stuff. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Rob, ¿cómo estás? Yeah, I'm not fluent. My dad was Mexican Indian. He was from the Yaqui Nation, and he spoke Spanish, but with a native dialect. And he was fluent, of course. and so I picked up some of the language from my dad. I actually learned more in high school and college, but that was European Spanish, and so my dad and I really didn't have a conversation. We could kind of say familiar words and kind of get the gist of what we were talking about. But yeah, I wish I would have learned his form of language, Spanish though, that dialect from his native tribe. So yeah, that would have been cool. Muy bien, he says. E too. And he's saying he's not fluent either. So we can kind of go around the edges of it, right? Yeah. So today's Monday, and we're starting a new work week, right? Hey, Anne's with us too. Hey, Anne. Good to see you in the house. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Um, Starting a new work week, and I don't know if you guys caught it. I did do a post to a few of our pages, Star Nation's pages, and I think I even posted it in one of the groups. We have a nice change here at Star Nation's organization. We added on a social media manager, and that's Stephanie Williams. Some of you guys have seen her in the live chats. She has been a long time listener to the shows, way back when we were part of Blog Talk, and also, she supports a lot of what we do, right? And so I was looking for somebody to help me with all of the social media stuff, because Start Nations does have a solid presence on social media, but it could be so much better. So much better. Did the best I could with limited time, actually. Limited time. And so Stephanie joins us with some experience that she has in creating stable social presence through, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest, I think it is, she uses. And then she's going to be adding on the two that we use here at Star Nations, which is LinkedIn and also Google Plus, and also YouTube. And so anyway, I can't wait for Stephanie to take the reins fully for the social media, because it's going to free up some of my time to do some other things that have been on the waiting list to get done. And so that would be great. That would be great. And you know what? And Stephanie is so much fun to work with. Yeah, she is. And Anne says, great, you'll enjoy having the help. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And so it has been a little busier than usual, because, we're working on Star Nations magazine, the December issue right now as well. But getting everything in place that Stephanie needs to be able to do all of the posts and that sort of thing. And so when you have, let's see, how many is that? 5 or 6 different platforms that we're posting to. Yeah, that's a little chunk of time to make sure she has everything, all the access that she needs. And oops, I'm sorry, George. I didn't realize he was like right underneath me. But it's good. It's all good. It also gave me a chance to tap into Mercury retrograde, right? And kind of redo some of the descriptions and that sort of thing in those about pages on our social media and all those sites. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And I did the card draw this morning, and I like these cards. I do. Remember yesterday how we had a very feminine card draw? We had both females. We had the wise one, and we also had Mother Earth, right? Well, today, look who comes to join us. Who came over is Father Sky. Father Sky. And the artwork on this is fabulous. It says, trust in the unknown. Trust in the unknown. I love the lightning and the eagle. It kind of reminds me of my clan. My clan is Thunders. Gamisho. Well, Gamisho Masenan is how we refer to the Thunders. But it's also referred to as Grandfather Sky, as Gamisho Masenan. Yeah. Yeah. And that blue is something else, isn't it? Father Sky. Grandfather Sky. My mom is the one who kind of, whenever I talk to her about, what I do and use some of our own terminology that we do. One time she kind of cocked her head and looked at me. She goes, why do you call Mother Earth when she's grandmother? And why do you call Grandfather Sky Father Sky? He's our grandfather. And So I asked her what that meant, because it's all really the same to me. And she goes, "Oh no, it's not. It's not the same," because she said that the first people that were created, their physical bodies came from the earth, and so that's their mother. And she says, and we're their descendants, so that's our grandmother. Oh, okay, and same for Grandfather Sky. And so that is do I want to call it a subtle difference? Maybe it is subtle, compared to, say, when we're talking about new agey kind of stuff, or I don't even like calling it that. The terminology and the vocabulary that we have sometimes doesn't translate very well into Native America, and so sometimes I kind of feel like I'm a translator from one to the other. And so Grandfather Sky or Father Sky. Yeah. And Grandfather Sky represents everything that's in the sky, from the stars, the moon, the sun, all the planets, rainbows and clouds, everything that you find in the sky, except for birds. Those who fly are still Grandmother Earth's children, right? They're kind of the in between. That's why the birds are the messengers between us, Grandmother Earth's children, and to the Creator. They're the ones who fly the closest to the Creator is the eagle, and also I'll put in there the condor, right? Yeah. Trust in the unknown. I sat with that just for a couple of minutes this morning. Trusting in the unknown. What does that really mean? Because most of us, that's where our fear lies, is because in our lives that's the piece that's unknown gives us the most angst because we don't know it, right? And sometimes that also means that we have to kind of let go. We have to release control when we're trying to control every little piece of a project or whatever it is that we're doing, right? And we don't allow others to come in, whether it's energy to flow through or for assistance to come in, or to actually have a team in place where everybody takes a piece of whatever it is that you're doing and you feel comfortable with it, that kind of stuff. I don't know why that is. Why is it that, there's many of us who feel like we need to have as much control as possible? I do know that sometimes it's connected to a trauma of some sort, whether it's an emotional or a mental trauma, and that's connected to some sort of PTSD, so that when you don't have control over a situation, your anxiety level goes up, and so does the fear level. And so fear of the unknown, right? Yeah. Hey, Sister Minnie's in the house too. Hello, Minnie. Good afternoon. He says, good afternoon, everyone. And Becca's here too. Hello, Becca. Oh, it's good to see you in the chat. It really is. I love that picture on your profile. What a great smile. Laughter. It's a good one. Good one. So this is the first card that came. And it's Grandfather Sky, and it's about trusting in the unknown. Trusting in the unknown. When we say prayers, when we're making a request for something to come into our lives, there's many of us who use the words or the caveat of, or something better, right? Or something better. So we want this, or something better. And why do we do that? because we're two-legged, we're humans. I've got some George hair on me that just won't go away. He gave me a huge wet kiss just before showtime, and I had to clean my glasses, and yeah, he's sleeping right now, right underneath me. So we're two-leggeds, right? And even though we would like to have a lot of control, we really don't know what's around the corner. We really don't. And those of us that are that have a strong belief in our intuition, sometimes yes, we can tap into near future stuff, but a lot of times we're so emotionally involved in it, we don't have access to it because of our emotions. And so we really don't know what's around the corner, right? And so when we make that request and we say, or something better, that means we're handing over that to the creator and to spirit, that this is what we'd like, but if there's something better out there that serves me in this way, please bring it, right? And hey, Connie's here too. Hey, Connie, good to have you in the house, one of our Star Nation elders. It's always good to have you here, Connie. You're welcome, Becca, because it's true. Look at guys, look at her profile picture. It's a great one. Love the laughter. So let's find out a little bit about Grandfather Sky from what Kyle Gray, who is the author of the cards, the deck of cards we're using. Got to get to it. Grandfather Sky. It's close. Father Sky. And for those of you who might be joining us for the first time since we started using the new deck, this is the deck that I'm using. It's called Angels and Ancestors. It's by Kyle Gray, and the artwork is by Lily Moses. It's a relatively new deck. It was published in 2018 and released in September. Yeah. And Kyle is from Scotland, and Lily is from New Zealand. And so they're both UK citizens. And so you can tell in the, especially in the text, that we're hearing from another perspective. Yeah. Lemon water. So trust in the unknown. The message is trust your path is unfolding exactly as it needs to. You have a personal relationship with the Great Father. Know that he's lovingly leading you forward. The reason why I'm laughing, I don't know if you can hear him, but George is snoring. He must really be tired. Paul had him out running around in the woods just before when Paul left for work. He's really snoring loud. All right. So when I call in the directions and I get to Grandfather Sky, right? And how I usually call in the directions is, especially for Grandfather Sky, this is what I say, is that we call to Grandfather Sky to please join our sacred circle here tonight or today, to please join us, and that we appreciate all that you do for us. And we ask you to bring us clarity in whatever topic that we're talking about. And we thank you for illuminating our path with the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the planets, right? And so that's how I usually introduce or call in Grandfather Sky, because I believe that is the part. And Minnie says, yes, I can hear him. That's too funny. That first sentence is trust that your path is unfolding exactly as it needs to, right? And we can ask for illumination. We can ask for clarity. We can ask to help us to see it with more clearly, right? And if you're calling on Grandfather Sky, is ask him to illuminate it with the sun or with the stars or the moon. We can do that. And so that we get that we can sense, feel, or see with clarity, right? Yeah, that's how I like Grandfather Sky. I do. I love him. Kyle goes on to say that the Father Sky is the name of the Native Americans and many others indigenous tribes have given to God. Okay, so yes, there are probably some Native American tribes who have done that, but the ones that I'm familiar with, Grandfather Sky is different than God. Okay, so for the like in the Potawatomi, we say Gamisho Masay Nan. That's Grandfather Sky. Kechimanado is the Great Spirit. That's God. That's God. It's the Great Mystery. That's basically what it translates to. So so when I said that that we're getting a perspective from the UK, this is a prime example of it. Is that there probably are some Native American tribes who refer to Grandfather Sky as God, but in my culture, the one that I grew up in, there is a difference, and even I mean, I know that many of you may be familiar with the term Wankantanka, yes, and actually that is the Lakota use the same word Wankantanka or phrase for both Grandfather Sky and for Creator or God. You know? Yeah. And in the Ho-Chunk culture, in their language, Mauna is the earth maker, creator of all things, right? And so there is a distinction between the creator and Grandfather Sky. The creator is the one that created the earth. And then we also have a prime creator that it's kind of like the creator of creators, the God who created gods. The prime creator is the one that not just created our world, our planet, or our universe, but all of the universes and all the multi dimensions, and it's so much larger and more vast, right? And so there is a distinction. Yeah. Becca says, Neshi, I'm so happy I caught this reading. It's such perfect timing. My husband and I, are facing big changes at this time. We need clarity and illumination. Oh, so you can ask, right? You can ask your spiritual team. And when I talk about our spiritual team, that's all of our guides, all of our teachers that are in spirit, all of our power animals, all of our totems, all of our angels, Grandmother Earth, Grandfather Sky, all of the nature spirits. We have a huge, huge team. Each one of us do. And so this is something that we talked about yesterday. So that when you call on your team to come in to help you, is to call the entire team in, not just the handful that you might know of by name, okay, which are good. Still call on them too, but call on the full complement, because we, as the two-leggeds, we don't know all of their names and we don't know all of their expertise. So we might be calling on one of our team members that we know specifically. Like everybody calls on Archangel Michael, right? And Michael is really great. He has helped me a great deal. But there might be somebody else on my team or another entity on my team that has more information and more expertise in an area than Michael does. And so when we call on the full complement, those that can help me the most or of the higher vibration, please come in. Please come close and help me understand this, right? Yeah. Yeah, aw, that's nice, Crystal. Thank you. She's saying blessings to you, to Becca and her husband. That's sweet. Thank you, Crystal. All right, so Kyle goes on to say this card represents the universal powers that are masculine in essence, and the energies that people have called out to and look up to in times of need and gratitude. Father Sky personifies your relationship with the masculine energies of the divine and possibly a very powerful male or father figure too. So, as I was reading through this, and the next card helps us to understand this first card even more, is that we're looking at a higher vibrational male essence. Okay, not the gender necessarily, but the spirit, the essence of the divine or sacred masculine. And so we think about, what does that mean? You know, that the masculine energies is about thought and it's about action, right? That's just to name two, just to name two. Whereas, you know, the sacred feminine or divine feminine is much more nurturing. Many times it's the activity isn't quite as active, or there's more intuition involved, more subtleties, that sort of thing. And so today we're looking at the divine masculine, the sacred masculine, and looking at it through the lenses or the filter of Father Sky. The higher vibration or the higher essence of the sacred masculine. Yeah. What does that mean though, right? I think it means slightly different to each one of us. Because, yeah, we could talk about the general definition, I guess. But, you know, as we look at it to fine tune it, we have to look at, what does that mean to us individually? So that when we call on that sacred masculine or that divine masculine, the higher vibration of it, to help us see something with clarity, or to help us. You have to also look in what energy we're in. We're in Mercury retrograde, right? To help us understand with clarity maybe something that's happened in the past that has come back around and it's now in front of us again. So we have the opportunity to either heal it or to remove it, to understand it, to gain the life lesson or the wisdom from it. Yeah. Calling on the divine masculine to help you with that. Yeah. I was just kind of going through of all the stuff that I've got on my platter. which one, or maybe all of it, that I ask for more help with. Because there's so much. There's so much. Okay, Becca. Well, let us know how that works for you. Okay. And what comes to you. What comes to you. All right. So it says that you are a co-creator of your life, and every thought, feeling, intention, and emotion you have is creating the road ahead. I'm going to say that again. Every thought, every feeling, every intention, every emotion you have is creating the road ahead. So it would really be beneficial for us to be grounded, right? Grounded and centered, balanced, to do whatever we have to do to get to that place of being grounded to Grandmother Earth. Because when we're grounded to her, we're calmer, we're steady, we're stronger. And so when it comes time to make decisions or to make a movement, that we're making the best decision we possibly can, because we're utilizing all of our chakras, all of our energy, and not just the chakras that are from like our heart chakra on up, right? That we're using the full complement of it. Yeah. Yeah. Becca's saying, I feel something in my gut for sure. I surely will. All righty. That would be great. Yeah. She says, get grounded is good advice. I know. Anytime, right? Every time. it's so much, our lives are so much calmer when we're grounded. Doesn't mean that we don't have life stuff happening. Doesn't mean that, I don't know, that you have life lessons occurring, that you have an event in your life. Doesn't mean those things don't happen. It only means that you're more grounded and calmer to deal with it, to learn from it. We don't get so freaked out, right? It's like, oh, okay, I see that. What are we going to do with that one now? And so it's nice to be able to come into it that way. Now, there's times when something really knocks us off our feet, off our balance. That's usually the cosmic 2x4, right? But we also have tools. We have all kinds of tools. All those classes that we went to for spiritual classes, right? All those classes where we might have learned how to dowse, or maybe we learned how to use divination cards, or maybe we learned how to do a sit spot. Thinking of seeing Minnie Kansman's name in the chat. And so we have tools at our fingertips, and sometimes we just need a nudge or a reminder to use our tools, and we get back on our feet. We get grounded again. And so it's all about life, isn't it? Okay, so what else does Kyle say? He says that with that being said, you don't need to know every single detail of what's going to unfold before you. When this card appears, you're being guided to step back and get out of your own way, because there's a greater power that is not only around you, but within you. And Father Sky is creating the best experience imaginable for you. So when we're in our own way and we're trying to control all of as many as the details as we possibly can, many times that comes out of fear. But it also is ego-based. Now that's my 2 cents, okay? From my own experience. Many times it's ego-based. That we want to have so much control over a situation that it feeds our ego, because we're in high demand, and that we want to be the go-to person, right? We want to be the gold star student, that kind of energy. And so sometimes we just have to kind of step back and take a look at it and see what part of us is really wanting to be in control. And if you find that it is your ego, and that's okay, because we're learning something then, right? Is to be able to step back and remember your tools and how to get back into your heart, to get that balance between the head and the heart. Yeah. Because if we don't ever have the opportunity to recognize the difference, we don't have a rounded experience. Does that make sense? Because we're here to learn. We're here to master our gifts. And so if we don't have the opportunities to apply our gifts and to use our tools, we're kind of stagnant. Yeah. I'm laughing because it's like, I'd rather learn things when they're small, when they're really little. They're still fun at that point, right? All right. And Kyle goes on to say that accepting this will allow miraculous energy to come into your life. So see things from a higher perspective, like the eagle on the card. So when an eagle is flying, because they fly very high, right? So they can see a situation from a much higher perspective, a much broader and expanded perspective. And so when we're asking for that clarity, that's what we're really asking for. How does this all fit together? Help me to see it from a higher perspective. What's really going on here? Yeah. Yeah. And they see things from such great distance, right? And yet they're like when they hunt for their food and they're flying over a body of water and they're flying pretty high, yet they can see that fish that's swimming beneath the surface of the water. And they can go in and grab their lunch, right? Um, and yet they saw that from a great distance away. What a great metaphor. So that you can see things with clarity, you can see the larger picture and how things all fit together. And then once you get the clarity of that, then you can hone in on what it is your intention is, right? That's a really good analogy. Thank you to my spiritual team for bringing that one. I like that one because I could actually kind of see the eagle as it comes down to grab the fish. You know, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen that in person? How they hunt and how they come in to grab the fish? It's spectacular because their wingspan is so large, and when they come in and their feet are down, their talons are out, and literally they go in and snatch the fish out, and you can hear the wings as they take off again, right? Yeah, there's nothing like it. That sound. Kyle goes on to say that this card can also appear when there's opportunities to improve the father connection in your life. So maybe if you're having a situation with your dad or your father or a father figure, that you have the opportunity to take a look at that and either heal it or let it go, right? Because either way, you're gaining wisdom from it. You're gaining, and maybe you're even completing a soul contract situation. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Because that's what we're here to do, is to work our soul contract. Interesting. Because here we are sitting on the cusp of the holy season, right? And that brings together, and just past Thanksgiving. And so that brings together more friends and family. And especially when you're an empath, sometimes it's really kind of a difficult time. And if you have a situation with your dad or with a father-like figure in your life, and this is coming back around because we're in Mercury retrograde, that you can take a look at that situation again and reassess, reevaluate. Yeah. Maybe remember and then also to forgive and to release, right? To heal it. Yeah. That's a lot in this little card. This first card, that was a lot, don't you think? One card. Yeah, I love that color blue that the artist uses. I'm going to check the time. All right, so here's our second card. Our second card is Arrow. Arrow. And this is, I love this card, the artwork on it. It is so simple and so, I don't know, I just like it. Shows the four directions, the arrow, the straight arrow. And what do we already know about arrows, right? That we know that when they're released, they generally shoot straight to whatever target, unless there's some wind, unless there's some wind interference, and then they get blown off course slightly. There's a lot of power behind an arrow when it's released from the bow. There's a lot of pressure release. And it flies very quickly. Yeah, and depending on what kind of arrowhead you're using, yeah, they pierce, right? They pierce. What's that one poem about shooting an arrow in the air? I shot an arrow in the air. Where it landed, I know not where. Do you remember that one? That's the three lines that I remember. I don't even remember who wrote it. And just that. I don't know why that came to me, but we're going to talk about it. So when we think about arrows, and let's think about them in a way that they're a metaphor or maybe even an analogy of our thoughts. Because our thoughts are powerful. And we should be consciously aware of what we're thinking because we're putting our thoughts out there in the universe for it to be created. And sometimes, depending on what you're thinking about, they can be very emotionally laden, right? And so when our emotions are pretty strong and they're riding underneath that arrow when it's shot, we add another layer of powerful intent underneath it. And so if our emotions are fear and anger, that arrow is really a poison arrow, right? But if the emotion is love and kindness and compassion, that's kind of like a love arrow, right? That's kind of like the ones that Cupid shoots, in a way. And so, just the arrow in itself and what it can mean, the symbology of it, and you put that together with Grandfather Sky, and not having to know all the details, is that when we have an arrow that we're using, is to be really consciously aware of it, of what we're doing with this very sharp, precise tool that we have. And the arrow is definitely a masculine essence to it. It's a yang feeling to it, right? Because of the straightness, because of the tip. So we have very masculine energy today coming through. Yeah. Becca saying, crazy, I posted the bullseye arrow. Did you really? When did you do that? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So you don't even have to know anything about archery. You don't have to even know how to shoot an arrow. You don't have to know anything about the bow. What we do have to know about is that we have the capability of sending thoughts very powerfully. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of energy behind that arrow when we let it go, when we release it, when we fire it. So we have to be, we have to be very conscious, aware of our thoughts and our emotions. Yeah. So there's times that I have a thought that is like, oh man, it's like, and I say out loud lots of times, okay, just delete that last thought. That was that's not the energy I want in my life. We're going to delete it. And we're going to replace it with, and I try to think of the most positive opposite thought. And because otherwise, I was just thinking about when we are sitting in the presence of gossip. In the presence of gossip. Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy Georgie. I'm sorry. I didn't know he moved. And we're sitting in the presence of gossip. And whether we participate or not, the fact that we're even there in the energy field, especially if you don't say anything at all, you don't see, let's change the subject, or I'm not talking that way about that person. Because of your silence, the others sitting around the table may take your silence as an agreement. And so, you want to be consciously aware of what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, right? Yeah. And you have a decision to make. If they choose not to change the subject to talk about something that's much more positive, then you have a decision to make. Are you going to remain there, or are you going to get up and say, you know what, I'm going to go over here for a while, I'll be back? Or let me know when you guys change the subject, because I'd like to be a part of that conversation. Or something to let them know that the reason why you're leaving is because of the gossip. And in a way, I guess you're kind of calling them out, and so you have to. There's a bit of bravery to that too, courage. Yeah. So I think that when we place the arrow as that symbol of our thoughts, to be really aware of it. That if we're going to use the arrow as a tool, is to use the arrow consciously, and to do it in a good way, right? So let's see what Kyle has to say about the arrow. He says, surround yourself with protective energy. Surround yourself with protective energy. Surround yourself with positive people and experiences and environments that make you feel safe. Call on your angels and guides and ancestors to bring you protection. To bring you protection. So he's using the arrow in the way that it's about defense, about having protection. And in the old days, before guns, the Native American ancestors, that's what we had, was the bow, and before metal, even before metal. And so the bow and arrow was used for two things. It was used to bring food, and it was used to protect. Food and protection. And then in many indigenous people, those two things had a lot of gender base to them. Generally, it was the men or male energy that did the hunting and did the protection, generally speaking. He says that when an arrow appears in meditation, dreams, or an oracle reading, it's a sign you need to protect yourself and what's important to you, because not everyone has the same intentions as you do. This doesn't mean that people are intentionally wanting to hurt you, but they could be careless in their choices and actions that could affect you. These are energies around you that could lower your vibration, and it's important you become aware of them and aren't brought down by them. Yeah. Anne says basics. Exactly. It's the basics. Mm-hmm. So it's talking about protection. So can we relate being consciously aware of your thoughts and your emotions, and using that analogy of the arrow? I guess that you could say that's a form of protection, especially if you do it from your heart and not from fear. That you choose to be aware of your thoughts so that they're kind and compassionate thoughts. And in a way that is a protection, because your vibration is higher. Your vibration is much higher than gossip. It's much higher than those people who might be using their words and the emotions from a place of anger or fear. So I guess in a way it could be about protection. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think we can look at this from a couple of different perspectives, that's for sure. Kyle goes on to say that if you're in a situation where you feel that not everything is as clear as it seems, trust your intuition. There are energies in your current situation that aren't fully aligned with your intentions and goals or with kindness. Follow your intuition about them to trust in what you trust, about whom you trust and what you trust. So it's about discerning. In any event, this is a time to call on the energy of protection and place yourself in the space that feels safe. Okay, so when you put these two together, right? Because this one was about trust in the unknown, and we talked about some people fear the unknown, fear about not being able to control the whole situation or really much of the situation. And this one is about this one is about protection, and there was a part about the unknown in there. What was that? That was the two things that brought it together for me. Follow your intuition about whom to trust and what to trust. There are energies in your current situation that fully aligned with your intentions and goals or with kindness. Follow your intuition. Trust your intuition, because there's some things aren't as they seem. So when you're trusting in the unknown, of course you're not going to be able to see it all. But you have to discern information that's coming in. You have to discern, trusting your intuition in that discernment. And so discerning, right? Discerning the arrows, the thoughts that you're sending out and the thoughts that are coming in, or the information that's coming in. Discerning. Coming from, be in a place, in a safe place in your energy. Be in a safe place. Be grounded. Because when you're grounded, your discerning abilities is much stronger. Much stronger. I like this reading. You can tell it's very masculine, though, don't you think? It's very masculine. It's about protection. It's about trusting your intuition, not being in fear. Yeah. There's a lot to think about in this one. A lot to consider. So, get your energy vibration high. In other words, be in love, be in the love vibration, but also be protected. Have your energy protection up. Shields up, as they say. Be grounded. Have your protection field up. And so that when you have to discern the information that's coming through, that you are in a more stable place, a place of strength to discern from, right? And to be really aware of the thoughts that you're sending out. Yeah. It's right on time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that's what I get from these two cards today. So shields up, so that you can be in a place of love, sending out kind thoughts with love from a good place in your heart, but you're stable and you're protected, so that when you have to discern information that's coming into you, when you're receiving arrows, not just sending them out, but when you're receiving them, you can discern from a place of strength and stability. Trusting your intuition, so you can actually be comfortable in the unknown. We'll see how that works, huh? I know, because I know lots of people who find having the unknown very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. They have to have a plan all the time, in detail, in detail, the outline, and they have it all broken down step by step. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have that. I think that's a good idea. But to try to plan it to a really fine point doesn't allow spirit to move through it, right? Yeah. Becca's saying, oh, Neshi. I hope that's a good oh, Neshi. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I say this every day, and I mean it, is that anything and everything we talked about today, that we shared about, if it resonated with you, my suggestion is to pick it up and embrace it. See, sense, feel how the energy is unfolding around you today, and whether or not you can use the information as a direct participant, or maybe you're a witness to it, right? Because either way, we're learning something. But just to be aware, just to be consciously aware, and to be aware of what's going on around you, right? But if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. No worries. Wasn't meant for you. You can just let it lie. And I always say you can always be a messenger. You might know somebody who is either searching for the information or enjoys these kinds of conversations, and you can just share the link with them. Right? Yeah. Connie is saying, thank you, Neshi, for sharing your wisdom. You're welcome, Connie. You're welcome. This week, oh my goodness, this week we have some shows for you, live stream shows. Tomorrow at noon is Polly Jo LeBay's show, Chakra Sessions. And if you wait just a second, I can actually tell you what she's going to be talking about. Got to get a document up here. It's just going to take me a second. And we got to go to December. Oh yeah, I forgot. We have a social media person now, and I put that in a different spot. Got to go over here. Oops. All right, there it is. This should be a lot easier. All the files are in a different place. I guess I can't pull it up for you quickly. Nope, that's not it either. Rats. Here I thought I could pull it up. Nope, that's for the magazine. Well, I guess I can't do it for you. I thought I was going to be able to pull it up just like that, and I couldn't do it. It's because I put the files in a different place than I usually do. All right, so Polly Jo at noon tomorrow, Chakra Sessions. And then we do the afternoon live stream from here at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then I do my weekly show at 8 p.m. Eastern, Communications from Home. And my guest is Julie Hedges this week. And we're going to be talking about drumming, drum circles, and drumming prayers, especially for Grandmother Earth. And actually, we're going to drum some prayers. So, if you have a drum, please have it with you. If you don't have a drum, that's okay. You can bring a rattle, any kind of percussion instrument that you want. If you play the flute, that would be cool. You can bring just about anything to do a prayer with, okay? So you can join us on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday is at 7 p.m. Eastern is Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay. And Polly Jo, that's all about healing. It's a healing meditation, and then after that, she does individual card draws. So if you enjoy having mini readings, you can come and join us, and Polly Jo will pull a card for you. Yeah. So, and with that, enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central, for the daily live stream and the card draw information. Okay. Bama Mina, until we see each other again. Love you guys.